It can only breathe in the air, but only move in the water. It feeds at the bottom of the ocean, but only breeds on land. They are the oldest reptiles in the world. Underwater, they stay in apnea for hours on end, cross thousands of miles of ocean with nothing to show them the way, but know how to find exactly where to lay their eggs on the very same beach where they themselves were born, year after year, generation after generation, for millions of years. Today, all sea turtles are threatened with extinction. Is this the end of an era? How can we allow this to happen? Off the coast of developing nations, they are fished and hunted. It's hard to economize on 100 kilos of meat when you have a family to feed. On board boats belonging to industrialized nations, a kind soul will sometimes rescue them from fishing lines, or the nets in which they die asphyxiated. This is the southwest of the Indian Ocean, where rich countries meet poor. Here, men and women are fighting to save the last remaining sea turtles. We have come to meet them. The Veso live on the east coast of Madagascar, a large island in the Indian Ocean. They are nomads of the sea. They leave their villages for months on end to go to distant fishing zones. They are one of the last tribes of fishermen to hunt the turtle. For them, the turtle is a mythical animal which links the earth to the sea and gives them the courage and the strength to brave the oceans. Tulia is their capital. It is also where we find the Institute of Fisheries and Marine Sciences. Bertin teaches and does research here. For 15 years, he has been campaigning for the protection of green turtles, which come to feed off the Madagascan coast.
We have established a system which is sometimes successful, sometimes not. When there are elections, it's as though nothing has been done. That's the problem. It changes every time there are new people in charge. For example, since January, in the town of Tulia alone, about 10 turtles a day have been hunted. Whereas before that, there was practically no meat being sold.
It's not easy in one of the poorest countries in the world, especially since tourism has got involved. It brings foreign currency to the country and new kinds of employment linked to the sea turtle industry. With Bertin, we meet Mr. Na. He has become a taxidermist of turtles, which he buys alive from the Veso fishermen, an industry which is strictly forbidden today throughout the world.
And there's the fact that there's no more turtle trade, that people can't buy them any longer and take them home. Is that a problem for him?
He says that it's mostly the big hotels which order stuffed animals.
The difference in salary between the local population and the hotel guests is so great that by selling just one turtle, Mr. Na earns twice the minimum Madagascan salary. Hard to resist.
Before, people used to hunt to live. The local fishermen only hunted turtles to feed their families. But today, poverty and the daily needs of the local population have turned hunting sea turtles into a profitable activity.
Matutira bulan bazah bulan pandrakane aura hitan. Fetena laha musare mijale timisra hatau.
If the government, the state, has forbidden the hunting of sea turtles, it's for good reason. Unfortunately, Mr. Na can't allow his children to go hungry. He needs money, so he has to continue stuffing sea turtles, even if he doesn't want to.
When you're poor, you don't waste anything. Madame Na cooks a casserole of green turtle meat. She sells it to local residents, who pay her €1 per bowl. That's a fortune in this town, where you can live off less than €1 a day. The turtle has been stuffed. It goes to the hotels, is sold to the tourists, doubtless ill-informed. The trade has been banned by the Washington Convention for 30 years. Suffice it to say that a convention holds little clout when 72% of the population lives on the breadline. Bertin has become our guide. He's taking us to the north, to coastal villages where tourism has less influence. There, turtles are hunted, but mainly for local consumption.
That's okay. But if they begin to catch turtles for commercial gain, then it would be unacceptable. Someone once said that the best way to exterminate a species was to put a commercial value on it.
After several days trekking, we arrive on the coral island of Nosiao, where Manieri lives. He is one of the last Viso fishermen to hunt turtles with a harpoon. On this sandy island, water comes from the sky, and the only energy available is wood and the sun. Manieri has 15 children. The fish he catches is their only food. It's obvious that here turtles play a far greater role than that of just providing food.
He says that he is totally against the ban on catching sea turtles. Why is this a problem for him? Firstly, because the ranj customs will no longer be practiced. The ranj is a traditional religion taught to him by his father, not just a custom. His children must follow in his footsteps, even if they go away to study. Later, they will return and hunt turtles in the same way as their father. He says this because if his children don't learn his technique, then it's as if his children are distancing themselves from him. His children must do what he has done.
It's an exact ritual. Manieri teaches each movement to his children. The turtle is the link between man and the sea, between his ancestors' past and his children's future. If it disappears, a whole slice of Veso culture goes with it.
He asks the all-powerful Lord, God the Creator, and also his ancestors, to enable him to catch and kill many more turtles.
Next day, we set off hunting in his dugout, which is as blue as the waves. The tide is coming in and the turtles are drawn to the reef. It's when they surface for air that they are most vulnerable. As happens every afternoon, the wind is up, the swell too. Ideal conditions for turtle hunting, as they don't see us coming until the last moment. Our turtle hunt will last 8 hours. Today, Manieri returns empty-handed. For our part, we are somewhat relieved, but he looks distressed. His ancestors didn't want him to, but perhaps there are fewer turtles than there used to be.
Ideally, there would be better communication between the fishermen and the scientists. They should be persuaded to establish a definite hunting season, which would allow the turtles to breed, while also allowing the vessel to hunt occasionally to cater for their daily needs.
We leave Madagascar conscious of the fact that those we have met remind us that the protection of all species necessarily involves man. We head now to Bird Island, where turtles and men appear to live in harmony. We are going 1,500 kilometers north to the Seychelles archipelago. On Bird Island, there is neither hunting nor poaching. The island is where another turtle, the hawksbill turtle, lays its eggs. This species has disappeared from certain regions of the globe, but here, even in the middle of the day, we can see it wandering around on the sand.
We arrived yesterday, and it was the first turtle to arrive on the beach. That's the main reason we came. We wanted to see turtles, and this one's the first one that arrived today. We saw the tracks, and apparently it's the same turtle which came yesterday and the day before. She couldn't climb, so she disappeared into the bushes.
Have you seen this before?
Here on Bird Island, yes.
Do you live here?
No, not at all, no. But it's the third time I've been. I've seen the magic before. I think it's the most luxurious place I've ever been to in my whole life. It's extraordinary. Real luxury is nature. It's extraordinary. I left my children and my husband at home, and I came here for 12 days on my own.
Bird Island is a result of a lifetime's work. For 40 years, Marie-France Savy, born in the Seychelles, has fought a courageous battle on the island to reconcile tourism with conservation of nature.
Tourists are happy to come to places with no aircon, just to feel the wind on their bodies. I get a lot of people who don't want to come here for that reason, but also several who come because of that.
I
arrived in 1969. I'd just got married and my husband didn't own a house, but we found a little house here. It's for the goats. It's fine for us, but it's also good for the goats. After a few years, we decided that the bohemian lifestyle couldn't last forever. So that's when we built the first 10 bungalows, which we opened in 1973. When I started out in tourism, the word ecotourism didn't exist, but it's something we've always practiced without realizing that that was what we were doing.
Ecotourism has economic benefits. And in particular, it also allows the holidaymakers to learn about the balance of nature. For this, they need a narrator. Here on Bird Island, this role belongs to Robbie.
When the baby needs water, look, the mother opens a pipe with her beak and lets out a few drops, and the baby takes it. It's amazing. Okay, I'll take you to see the paix en queue under the tree over there.
Is what you're doing here important?
Yes, of course. Everything I do on Bird Island is important. If you ask someone if what they do is important, they'll usually answer yes. I want to explain to people educationally, excuse the word education, about nature. And birds are part of nature, so they're part of us. We live with them like good neighbors would.
We understand.
You understand? Great.
The hawksbill turtle is one of the most hunted animals on the planet. Its shell has been used for centuries in jewelry and marquetry. One uncut shell alone can fetch hundreds of dollars. But it is also a vital link in the coral reef food chain. Feeding on sponges and anemones and breaking branches of polyps with its powerful beak, it opens up the surface of the coral, allowing other species to feed there.
And this is my enemy. Well, apart from man, the only enemy I have. Look here. You can see the evidence. The two crabs have already killed and strangled the baby turtles by the neck. Afterwards, they drag them into a tunnel, which we call a chamber. They take them into, and then they eat them. Sometimes there might be 230 eggs and not one baby survives. So I come to save the ones that remain, the baby turtles.
Robbie watches over every nest. He intervenes when he thinks predators pose too great a risk, and thus saves thousands of little turtles every year. He keeps the survivors at home and releases them when they reach maturity. This is how Bird Island achieves optimal numbers in the birth rate and also increases awareness in tourists.
So, is this the first time you've seen baby turtles?
Yes, it's the first time.
Yes.
We saw them laying yesterday and the eggs today.
So, you're pleased with your trip?
Yes, on both counts.
The newly hatched instinctively make for the brightest point on the horizon. They appear to use the Earth's magnetic field as navigation. Even at sea, they still follow the same course.
I think it's a double-edged sword. On one hand, there is an advantage in that it helps finance the infrastructure for conservation. But on the other hand, if there was no one on the island, I think the turtles would be just as happy. But then again, is it really possible to find an island with nobody on it these days? Probably not. So conservation is probably the best option.
Of the 10,000 baby turtles born every year, only 10 will survive the predators and reach adulthood. 1 in 1,000. These survivors won't come back for 20 years when they return to lay on the same beach where they themselves were born.
¿Tiene luz tú?
Ah, tous les deux, hein, là.
Every time I feel just as emotional. You can tell that they are creatures which are not really at home on land. To get here, they make an enormous effort, and then they go away again. And they're so happy when they get back in the water. I'm always happy to see them go back into the ocean where they belong to no one. That's what's beautiful.
Thanks to Marie-France and her pioneering ecotourism business, the hawksbill turtle is now worth more alive than dead. Staying on Bird Island costs several €1,000. Obviously a luxury, but one which brings so much hope. Can this model be copied? We are leaving Bird Island and heading for the greatest economic power on the African nation, South Africa. The country is trying to reconcile the input from foreign currencies with the protection of endangered species. We head for the KwaZulu-Natal Reserve to meet the biggest of the giants, the leatherback, and also the loggerhead turtle. The reserve is on the same scale as the continent, huge. It stretches for more than 200 kilometers. This evening, we are accompanying George Hughes and his team on their rounds.
We've been protecting sea turtles here for 47 years. Every night we go out in the car. There are also 20 or so wardens who patrol the beach. In high season, we also have students and scientists who come here to do their research on different aspects of the turtle's life. Every day, we also have problems with the driver.
And we also have in the north the private sector hotel. When they run the concessions with the tourists, their staff are trained to record animals like our scientists do and our staff. So we have very much an integrated and cooperative program with the private sector concessionaires.
We have come to the north of the reserve to take a look at the link between science and tourism. Mbagoni is an eco-warden at a hotel. Every evening he brings some of the guests to see the turtles laying.
Okay, you can come have a look. Okay. Okay. Stop here, like this. This is big.
The leatherback turtle is an impressive size. It measures about 3 meters long and weighs nearly a ton. It has a unique carapace with no bony shell, which looks like leather.
Okay.
This young couple is helping Mbagoni with scientific data. The measurements are simple but precise, and delegating to tourists allows the reserve to make huge economies.
Maybe this one is between 25 years. And what I can do now, I can check a microchip number.
You get the impression that it's not just people from another continent saying, oh, we must save the turtles, let's go and save the turtles, we'll all come and help save the turtles. You get the impression that everyone, even locally, agrees that the system is motivated at every level and that they all find something that interests or benefits them. He seems to be really interested in his job rather than doing it for profit. He seems just, well, he's been doing it for 20 years. I think that's great.
It's true that you feel as though you're just accompanying the guide, whose job it is to do this. You don't feel as if you're getting in the way because there aren't too many of us.
Oh, this is very nice. And when the tourists, they're coming to see turtle, and you're allowed to adopt the turtle, guys, and I speak to my manager, and there's some percentage from this money to adopt turtle, they're going back to communities. And then communities, they fix school, community hall, and the stuff like that. This is very nice, guys. Look at that, guys. Oh.
The turtle will come back to lay twice more in the next month. In the meantime, she builds up her strength on the reef. She needs a copious amount of nourishment. That's why the KwaZulu Park follows the coastline and stretches inland for several kilometers. Fishing is strictly forbidden, and the underwater fauna well protected. The loggerhead turtle also breeds here. This one lost a flipper in a shark attack. Its handicap doesn't prevent it from feeding because the reef is plentiful. It can easily take what it needs. On a diminished reef, it would be unable to feed itself and would die. Ronelle is Director of Scientific Research in the park. She follows the breeding patterns of the leatherback and the loggerhead turtles. 40 years ago, only 60 loggerheads came here to breed. Today, there are over 600.
No. This particular group was hunted before. Now, since the 60s, there's been very good conservation in place, so the animals are completely protected. The beaches here are also favored, so I think that they are producing mostly females. So it's good protection, good conditions, and the population is doing very well. It doesn't seem to be the same for the leatherbacks, though.
How can the differences be explained? Since the park was created in 1963, 6 times as many female leatherbacks come here to lay. But for 10 years, Réunion has not noted any increase, and their numbers remain unchanged at about 60. That's too few.
Of course, what makes this really a mystery to us is that these two species are getting exactly the same conservation treatment. They're protected equally here on the beach as they are out at sea. South Africa has got very good conservation. So we don't think it's something that people are doing, it must be something else. So one of the possibilities is that maybe the sand temperature is too cold for leatherbacks to produce females. Of course, the temperature determines whether they are going to be male or female, and I suspect that South Africa's incubation temperature is just simply too cold, so that we are producing mostly male hatchlings. But even though the conservation is really successful, maybe for leatherbacks, we don't see the same success because it's only female turtles, of course, that come ashore to nest. That, of course, is also one of the reasons why I took a small genetic sample.
Ronelle will take the same genetic samples from this female's hatchlings. She will establish the number of males and those which come from the same reproductive zone. If these males are more numerous than the females, her theory of too low a temperature in nests on the beach will be confirmed. For several decades now, the wild fauna of South Africa has shared in the country's prosperous economy and the well-being of its inhabitants. Is the way in which sea turtles are viewed in the process of changing? We head due east for Réunion Island, a small parcel of a developed nation, France, in the middle of the Indian Ocean. Here, they are trying to reduce the impact of fishing, the primary cause of death for turtles in the sea. Waiting for us is Stéphane Sission, who is head of Kelonia, the Observatory for Sea Turtles. As soon as we arrive, we leave for the port.
Okay, we got a call from the Cross. Are you already at the port? Okay. How's the turtle? Okay. Okay, see you in a minute. Hello. She's called Francine. Really? That's my wife's name. That's great. Watch out for the beak.
You have to call her Francine.
I promise. So you say you fished her up 3 days ago?
Yes, 3 days ago I pulled her up.
You'll have to give me the GPS reference.
You can't help feeling a bit proud. We're not just hunters. We also have a heart.
Okay, Francine, we're off to the doctor's. This is the system we put in place. When the fishermen catch a turtle and they don't manage to take out the hook on the boat, they take the turtle on board and then we go to the quay to pick up the turtle and take it to Kelonia. And that really is done on a voluntary basis. The fishermen are under no obligation to take part in the program, and they do it because they really want to. And now we have 7 fishermen on Réunion Island who alert us so that we can go and pick them up. Can we put it back straight away? No, you want to intubate?
No, otherwise I can't intubate. First, we have to give it a shot of gas. Okay, so here we must cut.
Ça va? Ouais, ça va. Moi, je vais le ramener. Ça y est. Et voilà. Donc en fait, les pêcheurs utilisent...
In fact, the fishermen use different kinds of hooks, specifically because some types of hooks are less likely to catch a turtle accidentally. So this is a hook which is much more closed than a traditional one. To date, there is no evidence that fewer turtles get caught with this kind of hook, but the wounds inflicted by these more circular hooks are far less serious than those caused by bigger J-shaped open hooks. These are studies which have been taken up all around the world, and on Réunion Island, they're trying to add new elements to research into the selection of hooks.
Don't you find it strange that in a flight of less than 3 hours, you go from one extreme to the other? From Madagascar, where fishermen hunt and eat them because they are hungry, they have no way of protecting them there. And here we treat turtles.
Yes, that's right. When we have seminars here, we meet people from Mozambique, the Comoros, Madagascar, and they all talk about developments where they are. And there's a big gap between what can be done in Réunion Island or South Africa or other developed countries compared to what can be done in countries like Madagascar or the Comoros.
The Colonia Centre has a well-planned care programme. Wounded turtles get better here before they're released into the sea. Their convalescent period gives young Réunion Islanders the chance to learn about these emblems of their native land.
Have you seen the green turtle and the giant one? There's a loggerhead about to surface, look. Clack!
The idea is to use the turtles we have in the care centre and to make use of them for educational purposes and for scientific research. It means we can get a better understanding of the species, scientific knowledge which is still patchy. You know what type this one is? A loggerhead. Franklin swallowed a hook and he had to go to the vet. He was sedated and they made an incision in his neck. Can you see the scar? There you go. The wound has healed well, so we can release him back into the sea. Now he's beginning to eat again. That means it doesn't hurt him anymore when he swallows, so we can let him go. He's back on form, and when you see him again, we'll have tagged him.
The story of the Colonia Centre reflects our growing awareness. In the 1980s, the centre was a turtle farm. The turtles were taken at birth from the Virgin Islands in the Mozambique Canal. They were raised in tanks for several years, exploited for their meat and their shells. "60 years ago, not one turtle continued to lay on Réunion Island. Since the marine park was created in 1997, the turtles have been coming back to feed on the reef and even dig their nests on the beaches. But out at sea, turtles continue to die every year in the nets from trawlers or on fishermen's hooks. The Colonia Centre is taking part in a programme called Ifremer to limit the impact of fishing on turtles.
The idea is to try to find a way with the fishermen to modify the way they fish, either the depth of the lines or the time when they cast the lines, to try to minimize contact with the turtles. The only way to find out is to use Argos tags on a batch of turtles, which will tell us both where they are, how deep, and what their diving habits are. It's a cooperation between the French Research Institute for the Exploitation of the Sea, IFREMA, Colonia, and the fishermen of Réunion Island, which began 6 months ago.
I believe that it's fundamental in all conservation programs, in all sustainable fishing, and I mean both from the point of view of biodiversity and social interaction with fishermen, to collect data. The fishermen already play an important role in telling us a lot about their fishing habits. Now we need information about the behavior of the species and then to collate it, and that will enable us to implement the most coherent and effective policies for conservation.
Turtles live a very, very long time and have late sexual maturity. From what is being put into place today, results will only be seen in several years' time. Then it will be necessary to maintain them over time. So the only way to succeed is to educate the younger generations so that in the future they can take the helm and to convince them that these programs are really worthwhile.
On Réunion Island, the mentality has changed radically. Conservation, education, and participation in research projects appear to be the winning triangle for Stéphane Sission and his team. We take Stéphane's advice and go to Moeli Island in the Comoros archipelago. Here, not all children can go to school. There is no hospital for either turtles or even all the residents. So how can conservation laws be applied? Mataraf is the eco-warden of the little village of Itsamia.
Yes, there's a turtle they've turned on its back, there. They dragged it this way. Look at the tracks. All the way over there, over there. They dragged it this way. We keep following the tracks. They still drag it. Which way did they go? Through here. Look. Look. They poached a turtle. That would have been yesterday. It's very recent. Look. Look, even the eggs. This was caught yesterday. You can see all the eggs are here. It stinks. You can see there's a ring here. This one had already been tagged. It's number 3949CO. We tagged this turtle.
Are many turtles poached like that?
Yes, a lot of turtles are poached because it's a bit isolated here. So there are a lot of killings. At the moment, we don't have a solution, but we're constantly trying to educate the people in the village and the surrounding area. But we still haven't found any solutions. It makes me feel sick. I feel like vomiting.
Half an hour away by boat, the village of Itsamia has decided to make the sea turtle its emblem. Although the beach is inhabited, it's a large breeding ground for green turtles.
The people in the village already know that we need to protect the turtles because we have tourists coming here. They buy a lot of things, crafts, hats, mats, lots of stuff. It brings a lot of money to the village. But in the neighboring villages, they're jealous because we earn a lot. We build a lot of bungalows. We do a lot of building. We don't have to pay village taxes because the association pays, because it already has a lot of money. So the neighboring villages are jealous of us. They come and poach our turtles to show us that our work doesn't mean anything. That's why it's hard to do this job. In the neighboring villages, some people understand. Some just don't want to. Just imagine, for them it's free meat. So a great many come to poach the turtles. But one day, we'll win.
Sira, the park manager, takes us with him on his rounds. At the moment, he enjoys the help of François Baudard, a conservation volunteer. His services are needed. The park is enormous and funds are low.
Okay.
He's just told us that there were some nets put out this morning, just over there.
The fishermen play an important role in the marine park because they have understood the importance of cooperating. They also act as wardens when it comes to poaching turtles, especially poachers who use nets. Poachers, we need to start filming them now.
What have they done here?
They've put nets out there.
Aren't they allowed to fish with nets there?
The marine park laws strictly forbid fishing with nets in the marine park zone. This guy has been caught and brought to justice many times. And today we've caught him breaking the law again. Hey, we have to be careful.
Hey, wait. Mad, vous me faites des onongwa mindogo Izo abasa tizani. Nako osiriside. Vanessa, osiriside. Rimsikini, rimsikini, babo hatu zino PS, ino PS raisi. Namribe PS. Na ikaka musara ndia ma problem. Namribe PS kamemu. Pomona o washi. Tuambia. Ndio sede ino PS, ino PS. Angu ino PS. Wamtaparo staki. Donc babu, wami hangu ino lo mnyezi nguda kontwa anvele huno amana zinde zirunka kule sko means babu.
Opération coup de poing.
It's a guy who everyone is afraid of catching. He threatened me, told me to watch out at the next elections. That if I was a candidate, or if I supported someone, I'd pay the price. All that because I caught him blatantly breaking the law in the marine park zone.
The Comoros are classed amongst the poorest states in the world and also amongst the most corrupt. Protection of endangered species is funded by international organizations, and the political will of the state is still weak. When Ciro reports to the gendarmes, he is not optimistic. The whole village of Itsamia joins in waging war on the poachers. This is what is raising the village out of poverty. On these islands where mass tourism is unknown, the natural environment is still exceptional. The dream of turning directly to ecotourism to aid development is real.
For us, our job is to make people aware, to educate the youngsters, and to keep watch. That's what we do in our association. The rest of the work is down to the state. If we catch a poacher, what happens? We take him to the police station, which belongs to the state. It's the job of the gendarmes, of the state. But 2 days later, we find the same poacher on the beach killing another turtle. So as far as I can see, there is no solution. In spite of all our work to make people aware, I can't see any solution.
Daoun, a tourist guide on the beaches, perseveres along with the others. It's a daily battle.
At first, I didn't understand the danger, although I'd seen people armed with metal bars and machetes, other stuff. But I didn't understand the danger until they stopped us. Then I asked what was going on. And a man told me it was my last day alive. They beat me for 20 minutes. Instinctively, I told myself I needed to hold my breath so that they would think I was dead. And that's why they stopped beating me. It worked. I nearly died for a female turtle.
Même si je suis pas en très bonne forme, mais quand même je suis utile.
I think that all villages which poach need to be educated. We need to set them concrete examples so that they see reason and understand that the turtle is our local heritage, from our island, from our nation. Even a baby can understand that the turtle is our champion. To get this far has taken years. We began the struggle in 1983. People thought badly of us, treated us as social outcasts. But today our image is good. So I believe we have to make an effort. Rather than violence, we need to use our heads to persuade people. That's what I think.
Today, the beach in Itsamia is both for children and turtles. Two worlds living in harmony, proof that protecting an endangered species is not incompatible with man's needs. Protecting the environment can aid in development and bring the promise of a better future. This is a sign the turtle has shown us.